Hey guys, howdy, it's Benny G from the Pedalhead Show. Today we're going to be looking at the Kmise Tremolo Pedal. It's 3 pedals in one. Hey guys, it's Benjamin here at the Pedalhead Show. Today we're looking at the Kmise Tremolo. I've done it again. I've ordered another cheap pedal because, times are tough. Came really nice from Amazon in this nice little package. Came with the rubber feet. Put those on. Switch up the knob because you got to, just have a little fun with that. This tremolo is really good sounding. And I'm going to have it opened up and I'm going to show you 3 secrets that are under the hood. Here we go. Hey guys, Benjamin here at the Pedalhead Show. So we're looking down now at the Kmise Tremolo pedal. I got the circuit board out of the enclosure, all powered up, plugged into an effects loop in my Helix, using a jazz chorus preset that I usually use. Here's this sound of it without the pedal engaged. All right, so now we're going to engage the pedal. All right, so far, why I have the pedal opened up is because we're looking here at these 2 trim pots, okay? One right here and one right there. By my experience, the best of my ability, I'll try to explain how they work. This one, I believe, goes to an op amp, and depending on how far it's turned to the left or right, will change the overall guitar volume signal compared to the tremolo signal. So it almost sounds like there's 2 signals at once. But when you turn that up, it drops the main signal and boosts just the overall slicing of the sine wave. When I first got this pedal, I thought to myself, it's kind of underwhelming in terms of the intensity. The rate sounded fine, but the intensity was a little underwhelming. And a little bit of a volume drop too. So I was excited to know that there was some trim pots in this pedal. Like a Boss TR2, there is a trim pot designated in that pedal to boost the overall volume. So I changed that one over just a little bit to the right. That gave me more intensity. So let's bring the intensity down to 0. Pedal off. Pedal engage. So when I engage it, you can hear there's a little bit of a volume spike. That's off. Okay. Now, this second trim pot here on the right side, that I believe is so you can adjust the height or the dip of the sine wave. So it becomes way more intense. Let's go back to the intensity though for a second. We're going to bring the intensity up to, let's say, 9 o'clock. So 1/4 of the way. And there you can already kind of hear some nice tremolo effect movement of the volume. Dial back the rate a little bit. You got to really appreciate that these Kmise or Safu pedals, they have a lot of ingenuity into them. I really like the flashing rate LED. It kind of gives me an idea of how to match things up with different effects. Since it has no tap tempo, but I can still get an idea of what the rate's going to be. All right, let's bring the intensity up a little bit more. Say it's about just over halfway. And the more you bring it up, your main guitar signal kind of just disappears. So let's bring it up all the way and see what that sounds like. I love this tremolo pedal. It really reminds me of like a rotating Leslie speaker, how much beauty it has. I just was bringing up the rate knob, and that just sounded like a Leslie speaker just speeding up, you know? And then obviously you can have a little fun, you know, with, let's make some Leslie sounds, so like... Disengage. And then re-engaged, obviously. Now we're going to hear this pedal with the Line 6 Overdrive from the Helix. Just talking about my signal chain, I have a Telecaster impulse response, I have a little bit of an EQ block, and then I have my distortion. And when I turn my distortion on, I turn off the compressor. Right now we heard a compressor going into the tremolo pedal, and then the output of the tremolo pedal is in front of the Jazz Chorus amp. Now, having a tremolo pedal that you can put in front of an amp is really good, because most tremolo pedals I find sound way better in the effects loop, but this one can get really by with putting it right in front of the amp, especially after you tweak the middle trim pot. So let's turn on that overdrive. I'm going to be playing more of my natural Les Paul tone, taking off the Telecaster impulse response. Here we go. Let's bring up the rate a little bit. That sounded pretty gnarly, I think. But as we heard, when the tremolo pedal was engaged, there was a little bit of a volume spike, almost like a preamp boost. Kind of reminds me of the P.H.S. Kodiak tremolo pedal that I had for a little while, where you could tweak the level of the pedal, and if you, let's say, turned off the intensity of the tremolo all the way, and you just use that volume boost that's in the pedal, the pedal would react in a really cool preamp pedal. So I find this with these two trim pots, you kind of can set it to what you want and get a little bit more out of it. So let's turn the intensity all the way down. Okay. Bring the rate to, let's say, as fast as we can, you know. Let's play this. Now this is just your overdrive signal. And now that we brought the intensity down, the volume boost should be there. We won't get any volume dips of the tremolo. We'll basically be using this pedal like a preamp boost. All right, so let's hear the overdrive without the tremolo pedal. Now let's engage that tremolo pedal with the intensity all the way down to make this pedal work like a preamp pedal. Whoa, that's a lot louder. Hey, so let's turn it off, let's get an idea. Let's turn it on. Wow. All I can say is wow. So now let's go back to a clean setting, turning off the overdrive, replacing that with a compressor. Now let's bring in the tremolo pedal, like a preamp pedal. All right, let's turn that off. Disengaged. It kind of reminds me of two pedals. It reminds me of an MXR micro amp that just boosts your line signal without, creating more clippage. And also reminds me of the Kodiak P.H.S tremolo pedal, which I had for a while. And on that pedal, it has a volume knob, so you can boost your overall volume, because when you usually have tremolo, it kind of brings the volume down. So let's bring the tremolo up. And let's see how this maintains your signal with the settings I have now with the trimpots. Bypass. And on. So as you see, we kind of want a higher volume output, especially if we're going in front of an amp, to kind of keep, the potential of a strong signal even at those really fast tremolo rates and high intensities. But if we bring the intensity to about, anywhere between 60% to 100%, sorry, from 100% down to 60%. When I brought the intensity back down with the overdrive guitar, you could hear the main guitar signal kind of sneak its way back in. But when I brought the intensity all the way up to 100, it was almost like a square wave where there wasn't any regular guitar signal being heard. Let's hear that again. back to clean. First note, when I changed this trim pot, my main goal was to get more of a contrasting tremolo effect with the intensity knob. So, you know, when you get your Kmise Tremolo in the mail, plug it in and see if it works for you. And if you want a little bit more out of it, open it up and turn these trim pots. And it's not like you can turn them, you know, all the way to the left, all the way to the right. It's only about, you know, maybe 50% or 25% of the trim pot's turnability to the left or right to make any changes. Or else, if you turn it too far to the right on this trim pot, you get no difference in sine wave. And when you change this trim pot, we unlock this awesome hidden feature. First of all, yeah, it does change the overall volume of the pedal. Now, are you guys ready to hear about the hidden feature in the Kmise Tremolo? We take the trim pot, we take our handy little screwdriver. We're going to turn it all the way to the right. Now, I know y'all are saying, wait a minute, that could not have been the tremolo pedal doing that sound. You have a Helix, you're just pulling our tails. No, man. I turned that trim pot all the way to the right, and I got this gnarly fuzz sound. Wow, that's all I can say is wow, hey? So let's hear that. Holy moly, that sounds awesome. Now let's bring the intensity up. See what we can do with these knobs. Bring the intensity up, bring the rate up. Let's see if it still has any tremolo effect. That's freaking gnarly. All right, now it almost makes me just want to buy another one of these Kmise Tremolo pedals, and just have one with the trim pot always set to that. Just use it like a fuzz pedal, because man, it sounds just killer. And you can also use it like just a preamp boost too. Now obviously I'm not going to keep it like that. I'm going to try to dial it back and find the settings that I was at before. Let's dial it back. Shoot over. We're still kind of crackling away. All right, that I'm kind of happy with that, but we'll I might move it later. But here we go. Here's with the pedal disengaged, and here we engaged it. Let's put it on overdrive. Let's bring down the intensity. Bring up the rate. Bring on the clean. right, so that's enough sound examples of me fooling around with that. Man, this pedal is awesome. So I'm just gonna take it right now with the trim pots where they're at and put the enclosure back on. All right, here we are at the desk. Take a closer look at this Kmise Tremolo. So we have two PCB boards put together. All right. Okay. We got our trim pots here. Variable 1, variable 2. I think that's what that stands for. Got, see, V1, V2. All right. And here we have something. Let me read it here for you guys. An MZ0M5, I believe. Yeah, this is a beautiful pedal. Triple pull, single pull, triple throw, I believe. Yeah, there we are. Cool. Now, I actually had a harder time getting it out of this enclosure than I did the analog delay by Kmise. But I think putting it back should be pretty simple. My trick is just not to budge these two trim pots, but they seem pretty sturdy where they are. Let's put the back plate on first. Okay, I'm gonna pop this guy out, right? Yeah. Set these two guys down. All right. Now time for the fun part. Come on, let's do this. Or actually, let's maybe do the other way. Let's do this way. Let's get all these down first. Okay. This guy out. A little washer there for our switch. Now in the summer, I'll probably be taking these aluminum casings and either rehousing this pedal or giving this casing a new paint job, you know. If you all want to recommend a color in the comments below, that'd be pretty cool. What color is tremolo supposed to be, you know? I always look at the Boss TR2 and I think of a John Deere tractor. Please like this video if you think the same thing. You ever looked at a Boss TR2 and just thought of a John Deere tractor? Or if you thought of anything else, leave it in the comments below. There we go. Popped right in. Cool, cool. Now, one thing that did look weird to me with this pedal when I got it is that this side doesn't stick out as much as this side, okay? But that's like, you know, not that big a deal. I figure whoever put this pedal together at the factory had a little bit of a hard time. And that's okay. Pedal works great. There we go. As you see here, I had another one of those cool knobs that need an Allen wrench to tighten. One more time. So I use that for the intensity and the small one for the rate. I'll get a different one for the rate down the road, but yeah, there's the Kmise Tremolo. from Amazon. Awesome pedal. All right, let's put it back on the board. All right, guys, now we're looking up here at HX Edit. I have a blank preset right here, and we're going to look at how to properly place a tremolo effect in our single chain, okay? So first up, our aim here is to make a really good country preset, okay, with this Kmise Tremolo pedal. So first off, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of my secrets in terms of getting a really good country sound, okay? First things first, and I'll put a link for this in the description. I use Sigma 3 Audio's impulse responses. Some of their cab impulse responses, they're very good. But what I really love, what they offer, is instrument IRs, electric guitar IRs, bass guitar IRs, violin IRs, and acoustic guitar IRs. That really makes the Helix work like a processor that changes your one guitar to be many guitars, all right? So I'll bring up an impulse response first, and I'll put the link for this one in the description below. The teller, okay? Now, the teller is obviously a Telecaster. We need a Telecaster. Even though I'm playing a Epiphone Les Paul here with EMG active pickups, not country at all, right? We're going to be using this Telecaster IR in the beginning to make our guitar signal sound a lot like a Telecaster, all right? So now that we have the IR there, we can now treat the rest of the signal like if we were plugging a Telecaster into the mix, okay? So ignore the Telecaster IRs there and just keep going. So we're going to add a red squeeze. A red squeeze is a Dynacomp, obviously. Country players love this compressor in the chain of before the amp. Will probably be a compressor post amp anyways. So we're going to bring the sensitivity to, let's say, 3, bring back the level to about 2, mix 100. Sure, why not? All right. I'm going to add a center return block. Sorry, an effects loop block, number 3, because that's my phaser, my phase 90 block, not script, but, you know, we're getting close for country sounds. Go for a bypass, foot 4, turn that off. Cool. All right. And we also want a little bit of a boost or an overdrive of some kind. So let's go to distortion. Let's go for the Deez 1 Vintage. I love the names they have here. The Deez 1 Vintage is a DS1. Deez 1 Vintage is a vintage DS1 black label made in Japan, probably. I'm not plugging the guitar in right now, so we're just gonna put that up and move on. All right. We're gonna just create the signal path to go down here now. All right. We're gonna give a little bit of a. I'm not gonna. Let's add a little bit of a slapback delay. But first, let's put the phaser after the overdrive. They might change it back later. We'll see. I'm on a delay. Now, they either use tape post or they're going to use Bucket Brigade preamp. Before the amp, I mean to say. So let's go with a Bucket Brigade, which is a DM2 Bucket Brigade analog delay by Boss. Let's go for something short. Feedback, bring that back. Noise, who needs a noise? Level, bring up the level. Mix, 45%. Headroom, let's bring that down. I want a little more spike out of my Bucket Brigade. Let's say that. All right, let's choose our amp. All right. Now, since we are going to be putting this tremolo pedal in the effects loop area, we're going to make sure we choose an amp first, and then we'll choose a cab after. So let's go over amps. I like the US Deluxe Vibrato. And that's a lot of hiss. Okay. Also, we should add a volume pedal somewhere in the mix here. That's always good, right, guys? We're going to add that to the beginning here. Volume, mono, logarithmic. Change that position to expression pedal 1. Turn it on. All right, now we're back. So we're going to select the next area right after the amp, and we're going to add, I got 3 pedals in this one effects loop here. I have an analog delay, I have an analog chorus, and then I have my tremolo. As long as you have the tremolo last, as that's the most important thing. Effects loop 4. Okay, let's choose a single cab for right now. A 112 US Deluxe, and I think we're going to choose a 67 condenser. Leave that where it is. And then we're going to move that cab block because there's one last thing I forgot before tremolo. And by the way, Fender, it's tremolo, not vibrato. It's tremolo. It's tremolo. Gosh, a phaser's closer to a vibrato than a vibrato close to a tremolo. If that makes any bit of sense. Okay. So so here we're going to add a reverb because usually all these old Fender amps have a really good spring reverbs built into them, or they have digital ones. Wow. Okay, we're going to be using the mono hot springs, or should I do double tank? No, we're going to use hot springs. That just sounds right to me. We're going to do, let's do a high amount of drip. Let's do a medium amount of drip. Let's do for 2.5 spring count. Dwell. Let's make this real intense. Bring up the low cut. Let's bring up the mix to about 51%. Bring up the overall level. Yeah, we want that. And let's have a button here so we can turn it on and off. Also going to do that for the effects. Also going to do that for the effects loop 4 with the Kmise Tremolo in it. And last but not least, let's add a cool ambient reverb. We're going to go with stereo for this one. Dynamic ambience. Okay. Now I know this is new. But I'm actually not going to use that one. I'm actually going to use a dynamic hall. So I find with hall reverbs, you get a really good country thing going on. Hold up.
Timmy's. It's 2 in the morning. Okay.
All right. So we're going to leave that where it is. I'm going to grab the guitar. We're going to move this camera. I'm going to move this camera and this light over to the Line 6 Helix floor. And you guys are going to see this thing in action and hear how it sounds. I'll still have HX edit up for you guys to watch as well. Hey guys. All right, so I have this preset all ready to go. Put on my headphones because, like I said before, it's 2 in the morning. That's a really aggressive DS1. All right, now from what I can hear so far, we're way too washed out with the reverb. So let's go back to HX Edit. We're going to bring this guy down. We're going to bring the dwell down. Spring count down. There we go. That's a little more like it. Bring down the hall reverb. We're going to bring down the mix here. And the decay, bring up the decay. gonna change the preset of. Gonna change the parameters now of the amp. Right now I have the intensity set to be about 1 o'clock, and I have the rate at about 2 o'clock. See it flashing there at the rate. Now we can even change how much the intensity is by bringing down the mix in the effects loop block here of the Kmise. Now I have both the intensity and the rate set to around 3 o'clock. Now, also, if you change how much input's being sent to the Kmise Tremolo pedal and you bring up the return, the intensity becomes more aggressive. So I brought back the send to about -1, and I have the return to about to plus 1.9, and that changes how much signal is being fed into the tremolo pedal and makes the intensity stand out more since there's less signal being put in, and then we compensate with adding more into the return. So here's how that sounds. Let's fool around with the cab a little bit. Let's bring that to. Yeah, let's change that a little bit. Bring up the level. All right, cool. Let's bring on the. All right, now we're gonna go for a little more, modern sounds. And since we're bringing up the intensity, we can bring back the standard levels of send and return. We're gonna bring up the DS1. That's about enough of that song. Now we're gonna bring up effects loop 3. Gonna bring down the phase 90 a little bit here. So the tremolo is kind of like nice, sweet, and subtle, And with the phase 90, it kind of becomes more like this envelope changing thing. Not very much for country, but the ingredients are there. Let's bring it the intensity real high and the rate real slow. And if we bring up the intensity a little bit more, we kind of get into a Leslie sound. Let's bring the tremolo pedal out of the mix. A lot of fun. All right, so now looking back here at HX Edit, we're going to do something different. We're going to take the tremolo effects loop block here, and we're actually going to put it before the amp, just to hear how this sounds, just to get an idea of how the Kmise works better in different situations. All right, so that sums up how the tremolo pedal sounds. In my opinion, actually, they both sound good in both places. I find there's more of a natural feel from putting it into the effects loop of the amp. And then when you put it in front of the amp, it's a little bit more, in your face. You have a little more compression of your standard signal, and then you have the tremolo going on top. So, the tremolo pedal can be placed in either or spots and work pretty well. It all depends on what your application of it's going to be. But anyways, that's the Kmise pedal. We're going to fiddle a little bit more here with the DS1. Now, I hope y'all learned, this hat's too small for my head. I hope y'all learned that tremolo is awesome. Now, this tremolo is one of my personal favorites. Analog tremolo just has a certain sweetness to it, especially as we heard in the effects loop. That just sounds beautiful. Now, there's a couple things about this pedal that I will complain about, and that is, even with changing the trim pots inside here, the intensity knob still doesn't do much until you hit like 1, and that's like over half, right? Now, it all depends where you're putting it in your signal and what kind of amp you're using, because when you're using a distorted amp and you put this in front of it, a distorted tube signal kind of compresses, so this doing anything to the volume ain't gonna be changing what the tube is gonna be doing in terms of compressing, okay? But if you're putting this in the effects loop or into a clean amp, you get those really nice cowboy, western, 007 sounds that, you know, everyone loves. Now, as we learned, there are three capabilities that this pedal offers, okay? There is the clean boost after you change the trim pots a little bit. So that way, when you're in the intensity area of, let's say, you know, 0 to about, you know, 50%, 40%, then you have this big boost to your overall signal. So that's useful. And then you can still add the rate and then have a touch of tremolo if you want, if not, you know. So that's the first one. Number 1 can be a clean boost. Number 2, it's a great tremolo. I got to the point now where it's a little bit more like a square wave if I go to the real intense settings. And if I bring it back, I get a mixture of my regular guitar tone with the tremolo stuff happening on top. So it's a good layering of sounds there to create a cool sonicscape of the idea of, you know, a wet and dry rig being meshed together into a mono signal. Now, the third option, and this is why I want to order 2 of these. Pushing that trim pot over the edge. Oh, it was just killer. That fuzz though. But put a like down here if you thought that fuzz was awesome. And if you didn't, leave a comment. Tell me why. But obviously, when I was using that on the effects loop block, it says the input was clipping a return buffer. So all of a sudden, I got like this little red flashing. I mean, like, but it was so worth it. That fuzz, just amazing. But right now, I have it set to, you know, so that the intensity is a little bit more there than it was before, and you can use it like a fuzz. You can use it like a clean boost. 3 uses out of this one cheap $30 Kmise Tremolo pedal. Anyways, all the links will be in the description below. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. This is Benjamin Gearisque here, signing off from the Pedalhead Show. Y'all take care now. You hear? But seriously though, Kmise pedals are awesome, and you should buy some. Anyways, take care, guys. Benny G here from the Pedalhead Show. Keep on rocking. Bye-bye.